Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNg.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a map called Extreme Crash Test Site. We start off way at the top of the map, so if we go straight ahead and just jump off the ledge, we have a huge drop-off that will destroy whatever vehicle you decide to throw off of the map, like so. We'll even put a little bit of slow-mo into the mix. How about 16 times slow-mo? Should be good enough to actually see what's happening. There we go, a little bit of visual right there. And obviously that is no longer going to drive. Next, we're going to go into the hole. So on this hole, there are 4 ramps you can use to get into it, but it really doesn't matter which one you choose because the hole is symmetrical. So the crash will look pretty similar regardless of which ramp you decide to use. So you can see what this looks like real quickly. And actually, we got through there in probably the best way possible, except for the fact that the drive shaft broke at the very end. But actually bouncing around in the hole did very little damage. So let's go ahead and respawn this and swap it to something a little bit bigger. We're going to go the H45 ambulance, and then we're going to go to another one of these over to the left. It's pretty much the same thing, but the ramp running up to it is different, and there's only one ramp on this one where that one had 4 different choices. So we just hop in like so, try to get this camera lined up a little bit, maybe do a tiny bit of slow-mo here, 4 times slow-mo so you can see a little bit of what's going on, and that one actually ended up getting stuck because the ambulance is so big. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to really look at this because the walls are so thin. So like the second you try to get a good angle, you just see the wall. So we'll try this one more time with a vehicle that can actually fit down the hole. I know a Pessima will fit, so we'll just grab the custom, hoping it can clear the jump because that's kind of an evil jump for a car with low ground clearance like the custom version of the Pessima. I think as long as we don't have the stance though, it should make it. And it cleared it a little too much. I did not see that coming. For a second, I didn't even think we were going to make it in the hole. So again, we'll do a little bit of slow-mo right there so you can see what's going on. And then we'll speed it up. And then a little bit of slow-mo. Not a lot, just like 2 times slow-mo. And then down to the bottom. Can this thing put any power down is the question. Answer is no. The next thing we're going to do does need a car with some ground clearance though, so we're just going to go with the Sheriff off-road version of the Roamer. And the thing we're going to do is drive into that tube over there, and it's a lot longer than you would probably expect. You'd look at that tube and think, oh, it's going to be, you know, a few feet or whatever. No, this tube goes all the way to the ground level. And it's actually really easy to make sure you don't tip over. I could pretty much just hold the accelerator down and we probably won't tip over. We will get some damage like that, but we probably won't tip over because we've reached the top speed of the Sheriff version of the Roamer. And we have a nice suspension for doing something like this where it can take all the bumps without flipping over any kind of nonsense like that where the tires might pop on a lip. This suspension makes it super duper easy, which is exactly what I wanted. Now you could try to do crazy things, you know, like going up and trying to do loops and stuff, which you can do, but well, that is how you wreck the vehicle. You saw right there, I almost got stuck on my own bumper, it looked like, and just about got slowed down, so I don't really want to do that again. Instead, we're just going to keep going all the way to the end, and I'm pretty sure we're nearing the end based on what I see. Yep, there's the end. We'll slow down a bit. Whoa, we hit a lip. There goes my front tire. There goes my radiator as well. We made it to the ground floor with a somewhat functional vehicle. It's not really functional, it's just somewhat functional. And you can see the tube we were just driving in, how big it is. So it starts way up there and then it comes all the way around in a big sweeping curve to where we came out. Now we're driving all the way to the left and we're going to do everything from left to right because that's the easiest way to kind of organize a video. So we're going to start right here in this corner and we're going to go ahead and just reset this so we get a fresh vehicle because this one is kind of tired and beat up. Just a quick look at it for you guys though. Then we can go ahead and reset it and then take a look at this road right here. So it's going to go straight and then we're going to go to the right, which is where all the interesting things are. That straightaway right there, nothing there. Over here though, we have a road with a bunch of ramps you can drive on, and you have to try to find the right speed to actually clear these somewhat smoothly if you want to make it all the way to the end. And I unfortunately am just winging this. I don't know the exact speeds. A lot of the time I'll memorize the speed with specific cars. This time I said, you know what? Just go for it. And that time, way too fast. Thankfully, though, there was only 2 jumps. So we're going to make it to the end, even though I totally blew it there. And when you get to the end, you just kind of pop out to the open. And if we keep going, there's one last jump right here we could hit. Like so. And that's the end. If we really wanted to, we could go and slam right into the actual edge of the map. That's the border of the map. So you know what that means? We need the Border Patrol version of the D series, so we can patrol these borders. And then instead of going to the left right here or straight ahead, we're going to go to the right, and then we're going to go to the left. So over here we have a straightaway that leads to a ramp that meets up with the other ramp. So if you had impeccable timing and the ability to control two cars at the same time with that impeccable timing, you could have a mid-air collision there. So the question is simple. Does WhyBeAre have impeccable timing? No, but I'm going to try to do this anyways. So first off, we're going to set up a Border Patrol version of the truck at this edge over here. And then we got to set up a car that looks like it could be transporting people across the border illegally. And then my guy is going to do his job and say, "Nah, Trump has said you guys can't come into this country, or you're leaving this country," or whatever Trump wants you to do because he's the president now. So it's just a regular looking Vanster. That seems like something they could totally use for that. I mean, it's the best bet I got for just a simple vehicle that'll also have similar speed to the D series, which makes it a little bit easier for these two to come into contact once they're lined up, I would hope. We'll get this thing all the way to the other corner right there, and then we just gotta accelerate them both at the correct time. The hard part's knowing what that correct time is, but I got a feel for it, I think, based on driving both of these vehicles a ton in previous videos. So we'll start this one right there. So we're going to start both of the vehicles at the same time. So we freeze physics, hit the accelerator, go to the next vehicle, and then actually I'm going to change the color on this, because if you have two cars of the same color crashing into each other, it gets kind of hard to tell what part is from what. So I'm just going to swap this thing over to a bluish color real quick. Then we're going to hit the accelerator and unfreeze physics and see if they crash into each other right at the jumps. So slowing this down a bit because I'm optimistic that this is going to work. And it will work. Awesome! We got the nice mid-air impact going on. And then we can speed it up a bit. And, ooh! The Border Patrol was not messing around. He's like, let me do that wrestle maneuver on this van, making sure he can't get away. Unfortunately, he just wrecked himself trying to do that. But that is one dedicated Border Patrol person right there. So next one is this one over here. We'll go ahead and swap the vehicles out for a different theme. So how about this time we'll do firefighters versus police. They both have their own SUV that they customize, and they're arguing with each other saying, my SUV is tougher than your SUV. And he's like, nuh-uh, my SUV is tougher than yours. So to figure out which SUV is truly tougher, the fire department got theirs, and then the sheriff department got theirs, and they're going to slam them into each other, which means neither of them are going to have an SUV anymore anyways. So it truly didn't matter which one was tougher because they're both ruined. Now, hopefully, we could do the same type of setup right here where we just kind of start them both at the same time, pointed in the same direction, and they'll have a mid-air collision. So go ahead and make sure these are both lined up. Looks good enough. Freeze physics. Accelerate. Accelerate. Unfreeze physics. And let's see how this setup works out. Looking good. Looking good. So, whose is tougher? Well, I don't really know because the way they crashed, they just barely touched each other. But if I had to say one wins, I would say the fire chief won just because they hit above the sheriff. And interestingly enough, they're both undamaged enough to probably go again. The unfortunate thing is, the way I'm doing this, it'd be really, really hard to get them to actually hit each other in midair when they're damaged. So, new vehicles it is. Because I want to do that one more time and get a little bit more of a harsh impact. And I got to realign this thing because it's a little bit crooked, which might have been why they didn't quite hit the way I was wanting. So we'll line it up right there, which looks a little bit better. Then we freeze physics, accelerate, accelerate, unfreeze physics. And let's see how this setup works. I'm going to try to straddle both of the ramps to get the perfect mid-air collision like that. That one, they actually really just hit each other. Turns out, though, they lose so much momentum on the ramps that the actual impact between the two vehicles is never going to be that impressive. It's the after impact that's the interesting part right there. So who wins this one? I would say they both lose. Nobody wins in that one. So let's say this time you have two car manufacturers who are both arguing that their car is more durable than their competitor's car. And to figure out which one truly is more durable, they're just going to do a collision between the two cars in a T-bone-like fashion. So to do this one, I'm actually going to overshoot the intersection and then come back towards it because I think it'd be a little bit easier to line up the vehicle without having the ramps in the way. So we'll just spin it around right here and then we'll try to make it lined up pretty straight with the road. A little bit of adjustment there and then respawn it. Get the SUV and then we're going to bring it into position and then we're going to swap out the vehicles for something different. Because we've already done a crash between these two. We don't want to do a crash between the two vehicles again. We want two different vehicles. So we're going to stop this one right here and accidentally spin out. So we'll try to line this thing up. And I might actually have to do a little bit of steering right here because there's no barriers on the side of this road. So the two cars we're going to use here. One is going to be the Barstow. The other one is going to be the Moonhawk. Those seem like two perfect vehicles to use. And just for extra fun, they're both gonna be the drag version, so they're gonna be going stupidly fast when they collide into each other, and I'm hoping the drag version should be very, very similar to each other in overall speed. So we'll get drag and drag, and then we're gonna do the same procedure as before. We freeze physics, accelerate, go to the next one, accelerate, unfreeze physics, and here we go. Let's see, can they hit each other? Yes, in pretty much the perfect way. They hit just at the corners. It wasn't even truly a T-bone. They just went right into each other. And the answer, which is more durable, is still debatable because both of them had basically the whole front get destroyed. If I had to say one car held up better than the other in terms of just the front, red car wins. In terms of where the driver would be, that looks like the orange car would win. Kind of interesting. So Moonhawk is safer, but the Barstow is more durable. And that's how the argument happened. They both were arguing about similar things, but slightly different things. You wouldn't believe how many times it happens to me in real life. And then for one more little fun thing we could do here, how about we throw in an extra drag car into the mix? So we already have it where we're doing one Bruckle Moonhawk, but what if we do two Bruckle Moonhawks coming from opposite directions, destroying a Barstow in between them, because Bruckle was not happy with these results. And to prove just how much stronger their car was, they thought this would make customers be like, wow, I'm definitely going to buy a Moonhawk. It turns out this was the dumbest marketing scheme the company would ever come up with, and nobody bought the cars because of this. And it also demonstrated how poorly the turning radius is on a drag car, as I'm waddling back and forth right here. Now, I don't know what the distance is like on this side, so I'm just going to hope that it ends up hitting the middle at about the same time as the other vehicle. So before we do this, I'm actually going to just adjust this forward a little bit to right there, and then we're going to do the same exact procedure. So we freeze physics, and then we accelerate, next, accelerate, next, accelerate, and if this works out, I want 100 times slow-mo on this thing because it'll look amazing, I bet. Well, don't need 100 times quite yet, but have it ready. Oh, this is perfect. Just about to get wrecked up by the double drag Moonhawks. And the audio is really, really poppy in 100 times slow-mo. And oh god, the whole game has just crashed. But we can't end on that, so I went ahead and set everything up just like it was before, and we're going to try this again. So there's 100 times slow-mo, and this is looking like the perfect alignment. So let's see how this goes, if the game can hold up or not. We're going to find out. So that is like the perfect T-bone smash. And it's basically just grabbing the rear of my car with those two. And the game is literally crashed again. Wow. That is crazy. I went ahead and restarted the game, and now we're going to do the final crash test, which is a little bit harder to line up because we're using two different vehicles. So we have a Hirochi SBR4 on one side and a Civetta Bolide on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and freeze physics, accelerate, accelerate. Then we go back to the Bolide and start this off because I need to make sure the Bolide goes to the right because it seems like the Hirochi always goes to the Bolide's right. So let's see, is this gonna work? Yes, it will. So it's like a little bit of a ballerina dance as these two cars collide in the air and then just spiral away from each other. And actually, the Bolide really took the spiraling to heart. Oh my goodness, that is dizzying. How did the SBR4 do? All right. So they both crashed pretty similarly. Anyways, that'll do it. Till next time, WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.